anyone. It's not unusual to be sad with anyone. But if I ever find that you've changed,
get on back here. Screen's turning off on me. It is 9:13 on this 19th day of January. Right in front of me, Hugh Halter. Post Commons, man, celebrating 5 years already.
5 years.
That's incredible. How's it been? How's the journey been so far?
You know, honestly, it's been awesome. You know, the 2 years of COVID weren't great. You know, right. I mean, I think everybody in town struggled, but yeah, we've enjoyed the common struggle with the local businesses down here, and super thankful that we're at 5 years. So
absolutely. And you know what's so interesting about this? I was telling you before the air. I met with Roger at Post Commons to start the show, and I've been, you know, so many times having the meetings there. I mean, you guys have a great location and have a great atmosphere about it too. Was that something that you instilled day one? Let's keep this.
Well, I mean, it was in the building, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Honestly, people, I think if we, you know, when I don't know if most people know the story, but the Simmons family donated that building. So
wow.
It, you know, it began really as a nonprofit. And a few friends of mine around the country actually just put gift money into it. So it was, you know, $750,000 that was put into the building. And we knew once we started building it out that people would want to sit in there, you know, and
wow.
So yeah, I mean, it is more get the building breathing and let it do what it was going to do. But the businesses became more of an issue of what was needed in the town, and we've tried to just kind of keep that going.
That's incredible. And another thing, I thought you moved in here about 7 years ago. Moved into town. Where were you from originally?
Denver, Colorado.
Wow, so a little bit of a geographical change
quite
there,
a change.
huh?
Actually, Portland, Oregon originally, and then 15 years in Denver. And our son Ryan had a really severe epilepsy condition from birth, and we eventually found Beverly Farms as an assisted living center for him. So, you know, it was 7 years before we moved out. We moved Ryan out here, and we would just fly in and visit him. No sense of, you know, thinking about moving here, you know. And all of a sudden, my wife one day down at the old Tony's goes, "Why don't we just move here and see if we can do something to get some stuff started?" So it was a frustration of, at the time, not being able to find a cup of coffee when we would come in and visit him. And we saw all the beautiful buildings, but so many of them were boarded up at the time. And yeah, it just kind of became a family mission, if you will. My 2 adult daughters and their husbands came, and we thought, let's try to do something. We had no idea that the Simmons family would give us the building, but once that happened, then we went, okay, that's why we're here for now.
That's just incredible. And it's actually really cool because, I mean, you're not living here. You got to kind of jump in and see the development kind of happen before your eyes, too. You know, the boarded up building started to have the boards pull off them a little bit.
Totally.
And the dust is blowing off. What's been the most exciting part of being at your location and just, you know, all the things that you've encountered over the 5 years?
Yeah, it's all people.
Yeah,
honestly, that's why we're doing the 5-year anniversary. We just wanted to say thanks to everybody. But you know, I always tell the people that are working in the Post, I say, you're the commodity. Even though we got great coffee and food and events and all that stuff, I feel like it's the family inside the Post that I'm most personally excited about. But the gift of the Post to me has been all the people that I've gotten to meet that come through the doors. And I think our team would say the same thing. We just always go like unbelievable. So great people.
That's just incredible. And, you know, like you said, every time I go in there, it's always just the most pleasant thing. From the customers to the employees working, it's just really relaxing, a great environment. Yeah. Well, let's flash forward to celebrating 5 years. When's the date and how can we come and celebrate with you?
It'll be on Saturday, which is, you know, usually our busiest day, but normal business hours, 7 to 2. And but we're going to have we'll have the bar open early. And
nice.
That was kind of a Saturday thing. Many times we'd have somebody in the bar doing some great breakfast cocktails and that type of thing. So we'll do that. We'll have some live music and have some food and drink specials. And I think we're even doing something for the kids with some white Post Common T-shirts where they can color on their own T-shirts. So you can bring your kids, and it'll be crazy in there this Saturday.
I might bring my little cousin. He's a drawer. You know, all the sheets are not safe at the house.
Better on T-shirts than the walls, right?
That's for darn sure. And, you know, another thing that you guys do is having these really cool events that I always see. You know, every once in a while there's always events happening. Who do you go? Is that something that you utilized with this space from day one, is making sure you had some different things going on?
Yeah, we weren't sure it would be that big of a deal, but we ended up putting a bunch of wood on a back wall in that one back room, and then we just started getting wedding events like crazy. And the events is really, I'd say, I really feel like we're one of the premier event space in town. The way the building just sets up. So yeah, we do a lot of weddings and a lot of business meetings and things like that.
That's just incredible. And you're right. I look at that wall every time. I'm like, that would be a really cool place to do like a live show every once in a while, you know?
Yep.
That would be cool. Well, talk to us a little bit more about some of your coffee, because you have your own page dedicated to it on a website. And take us through just the coffee that you do provide.
Yeah, early on, I grew up, I'm 54, so I grew up on Starbucks and gas station coffee. And when we realized it was going to be a coffee shop, we ended up finding David McCann, and he just has become literally a treasure, I think, to the area, because he was a coffee nut, And there's what we call third wave coffee, which is when you do everything the way it's supposed to be done. So the right water, the right way of roasting, whatever. So originally, it really was coffee first. That was kind of the passion. Probably still is. Most people don't know that because the building serves so many other things now. But we wanted the coffee to keep expanding. So that became Idle Roasting Company. And so we actually roast our own coffee now. We started doing that 2 years ago, and are just beginning to expand that. So people can come in, they can actually buy bags of coffee now. And
that's what I was seeing.
Stuff like that.
That's
and
awesome.
I think we've got, and I'm not just saying this because now I've learned not to just enjoy the bitter coffee, but I've learned what coffee's really supposed to taste like. And I think our coffee's as good as anywhere in St. Louis. So.
And see, that's a whole nother world I haven't experienced yet, because I have my jet fuel over here, and I always get, every time I have somebody in that's, into the coffee world, they look at it and go, oh my God, what are you doing, CJ? But what's been the most surprising aspect of that journey in developing, you're roasting your own coffee and learning that new industry and all the different flavors?
Yeah, well, it's the taste stuff. Like I always tell people, like anything that you enjoy, you have to develop some taste for, right?
Yeah.
So, I've grown to be quite a whiskey lover. Well, I didn't like that the first time that went in, And so I've had to learn how to really enjoy the kind of beautiful sweet edge of really fine coffee. So I always tell people, like, keep trying. So you should get off that can of energy drink at some point.
Yes, I do.
But you've got to just slowly move your way in. So we always say start with some lattes, work your way to some cappuccinos, and then just start enjoying just a straight black cup of coffee, which is what I love. So
that's incredible. And I got to ask you, when you're developing the building and things are, that's no easy task. It's good to look back on it now, but at the time you're getting money put into it, you're renovating it. What was one of the most challenging aspects of getting that up and operational? The
size of the building, and it's such a sturdy structure. Every wall is 12 to 18 inches of just cement. And so, we had to add all new plumbing, all new electrical, an entirely new roof. And so it took us about 10 months to literally renovate the whole thing. It was 12 hours a day. And, but we knew, literally it was day one when we opened it. People, I think, just came in and went, what the heck? Why was this not? So most people don't know it was boarded up for 60 years.
Right. And that's the thing, because whenever you open it, now the first time I walked inside, I will never forget it, because I'm going, I did not realize how big the building was. I'm glad you said it, because from the street view, it's still a big building, but the size is really not.
Well, especially like for a sit-down coffee type place, because people realize, they don't ever have to get pushed out of a table. So a lot of people ended up, that's their office. People started to work. A few people would ask us, like, is it okay if I work here? And we went, yeah, that's the purpose of our nonprofit side of what we do. Is so we're trying to incubate good works anywhere in Alton. People that, we had somebody that wanted to start a bakery, so we let them use our commercial space, and off is Fox's Boxes, and everybody knows that as a great bakery. So we literally have tried to, we want people to come to us and go, hey, I have an idea, and we want people to use the building, and if they can't afford office space, they can come in and just sit there, enjoy coffee, and we want to see everybody succeed. So the building really does have a purpose way beyond money that we make from whatever we serve. So
absolutely. And I got to ask you, what I really think is the best part, one of my favorite parts of the building, is seeing just the old post office still, the fragments of it. And was that something that you guys really made sure to maintain some type of that originality to the building? Yeah,
if you go like right next to the coffee bar is the whiskey bar, right? Yep. And we basically looked at all those old post office, and we left every one of the labels or the names on there. People have actually come in and started to cry because they find their grandfather's old business name on there.
Wow.
And so, we said that's going to be that's where we started. It was like, let's keep that post office. And we kept all the old windows and the writings that were on the windows, the old postmaster room, and we really didn't have to think. The building just said, hey, do this, just get me breathing, but just, keep the old stuff.
And that's so. And now I got to ask you. I mean, you have all these. You have a great plan. You had a great vision. But did you expect all the community to support that? It seems like the community really does cherish the space you guys provide.
Yeah, we worried about people just being downtown. I mean,
Right.
I remember when Cheryl and I would fly in, and we would stay down, on Broadway, and we have a picture where there's no cars on the entire street, and we were like, does anybody come down here? And so, yeah, originally there was like, will people actually come to downtown Alton and check out some business? And we also were concerned about the coffee. There wasn't really a coffee culture at the time.
No.
I grew up Portland and Denver. It was heavy,
Right.
heavy coffee culture. And but yeah, people took to it day one, and it's really been fantastic. Sales are better now than they were, pre-COVID, and that's, I think, a good sign that the Post, as we always said, we wanted to become Alton's living room, and we feel like now the amount of regulars that come in every day, it's got a solid base, and I think we're here to stay. So
Without a doubt. Well, segued it perfectly. What's the plan for the next 5 years?
just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Even during COVID, I told
Right.
our team, like, our only job here is to stay in business, like, because it does provide a service for people. I was actually talking to Roger.
Yeah, great guy.
And I was saying the one thing that I feel like we've done is provide a way for people to connect. And people have always said, hey, I had an important meeting at the Post that changed everything for me, or I met somebody and that actually opened up a whole new future for me related to job. So we literally just want to stay open. We keep adding little micro businesses all the time. There's a lot of incubation going on all the time in the building. But we want those ideas to come through the front door. So we don't try to personally go, hey, let's do this year. We
Right.
just go, if somebody comes in and we can help them with their business, anything related to the building, then we want to do that. So.
Absolutely. And let's circle back real quick and highlight again this Saturday. A great opportunity for you to help celebrate Alton's Living Room's 5-year anniversary. I love it. A party on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now, $5 a kid?
I think for the T-shirt.
Okay.
That's what gets them the T-shirt. So
Nice.
It's not a cover charge to get your kids in, but they get a T-shirt on it.
That'd be a hell of a business.
That would be.
though.
Actually, that's not a bad idea.
Thinking out loud here. 925. Well, he really appreciate it. And for everyone that maybe has a question, maybe they want to utilize some of the spaces that you have, what's the best way to reach out to you guys?
Probably just find Natalie. Just walk in and ask for Natalie. She runs all of our events, and somebody will direct you to her. So.
And actually, before I let you go, let me talk to you about your team a little bit, because you do have a dedicated staff. And is there anyone you'd like to highlight for their work? Or
Because they're just literally all great. We've got 4 managers that run the coffee, the events, the cafe. Many people are starting to get to know Shift Agency.
Yep.
That now is really basically the idea was a co-working space downstairs, but we've basically given them control to create really a space for creatives. Mm-hmm. So if somebody is actually working in any of the creative arts, music, graphic design, anything like that, I'd say walk downstairs and
check them out.
Yeah, check them out. They want to help out too.
Well, Hugh, I really appreciate it. And congratulations on 5 years. And I'll look forward to talking to you whenever you want to come back on. You got any news you want to share? Come back. And in 5 years, regardless, you got to come back.
Hopefully you'll be off that canned energy drink by then. So we'll be good to go.
We'll find out. So stay tuned. 926 coming up next is NCBA. We're going to learn about some breaking news that's getting ready to hit Alton here at 940. So let's sit back, relax, and see where the morning takes us.